What's going on, guys? Welcome back into the channel. In today's video, we are going to be doing a review of WWE 2K22. Now, this is a game that I actually had on launch. It's just taken me a while to get to the review of the game, and I wanted to make sure that I had a firm opinion of this game because it's not something I do a whole lot on my channel in terms of this game specifically, so it is definitely something I wanted to take my time, give a thorough review on, and give you guys some important information that you guys might be able to utilize if you're making a decision on getting this game or not, or if you're looking for a game to pick up. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and review this game on 6 categories today. I was able to narrow it down to 6 important categories for this game, and 6 categories that I think you guys are going to want to know about, and we will, at the end, of course, give it a final grade, and I will let you guys know, as always, whether this game is worth the price tag or not. So, our first category today is going to be the gameplay itself. Our gameplay is actually going to get a very solid grade for this game. It's going to get a 9.0 grade, which is really good. And one thing that I want to mention before I really get into any of these categories today is that this game is essentially a first iteration. You know, they kind of built this from the ground up from my knowledge. Now, that might not be 100% correct, but I'm basically taking it as a first iteration of this game. I know that 2K has made these games in the past, but they've done a lot of work, and there was a lot of hype surrounding this game. I've had some of these games in the past, and they weren't very good. This game is a major step in the right direction. I feel that the gameplay itself is actually very fun. It's very smooth. It's very entertaining for the most part. It's not perfect, of course, being what I would call a first iteration game. There's actually quite a bit that could be improved, and they are working to improve with patches and things of that nature, but it comes out as a very smooth game from the start. It comes out as pretty much a finished game from the start, which again is a bit of a breath of fresh air in today's market with most AAA developers turning out incomplete games at launch. This is actually a pretty solid addition to the sports gaming market, and you know, it's something that I feel like you guys may be interested in because it is a relatively entertaining game from the gameplay perspective. There are some things that just simply aren't smooth yet and need to be worked out, and I believe that they'll get to. For example, ladder matches. I was playing My Rise, which is essentially the career mode here within this game, and I got to a Money in the Bank ladder match, and the physics on it and the CPU logic on it for the other wrestlers just wasn't all that good. It just really didn't work the way that it should have. It was a little bit wonky, it was quite a bit clunky, but that was the first time, you know, after dozens of matches that I ever really experienced any type of glitches, bugs, or anything of that nature. Far different from the last WWE game that I played that had glitches and bugs in the very first match that I ever played in, and it was repetitively glitchy and buggy the entire time. So I think that they did a relatively good job, and like I said, for the gameplay category, get a 9.0 grade. For the next category here today, we're going to be talking about the quality and quantity of the content within the game. And this is another strong point of this game. This category is actually going to get a 9.2 grade. There's actually quite a bit to do within this game between My Rise and My Universe and My GM, or whatever it's called. There's quite a bit to do, and that's not even counting the online game modes and things of that nature. There's actually a good amount of content within this game, and from what I've played, the quality of that content is actually really solid. My Rise has been fantastic so far. I've really enjoyed all of the options and everything that I've gotten to do within this game so far. There's not been anything that I've done so far that I haven't enjoyed. And having played this game on a pretty regular basis for the past, couple weeks, I would say that that's a good result for a game of this nature. And so it does get a pretty solid grade there, as I mentioned. It's definitely something, like I said, that, it serves its purpose. It has a good amount of content here, and there's quite a bit to do. So you definitely want to maybe check out this game and what it has to offer, because it is another one of those games that actually has a good amount of content within it and actually serves a purpose. A lot of that content is very solid and very entertaining. Now, the next category that I want to talk about here is the system interface, a little bit of which you're seeing on the screen here within this match. The system interface for this game is solid enough, but it's not great. If I had to describe it in a simple way, it's a 2K game, so their menu systems, their interfaces are never that appealing. They're never going to be the best of the best. Some things are going to be hard to get to. Some things are going to be confusing in the menus and everything of that nature. So, there's just a lot, to take in with the interface of this game. It's pretty solid though, so it does its job well enough, so it will still get an 8.5 grade. There's nothing terribly wrong about it. There's nothing great about it. It should certainly be looked to be improved upon within the next game, but nonetheless, it is still solid enough for what I call, like I said, a first iteration game. And I think that it, like I said, serves its purpose well enough, and it just needs to be looked to be improved upon, made more appealing and more efficient, more user-friendly for the next game. Our next category that we're going to talk about are the servers for the game, and that is something that always has to be mentioned with games like this that you're probably going to be playing with your friends. It's not a solo player game necessarily. You can play it as a solo player game, but you're going to be playing with your friends. And so the servers, that's something that we definitely need to talk about. It's a 2K game. Their servers are notoriously horrendous. Everybody knows this. 2K's servers are, basically atrocious. They're as bad as they can get, and you'll notice that whenever you guys are playing this game. You're going to repetitively be asked to sign the license agreement or agree to the agreements at the beginning of the game when you load it up every single time, even though you've done it 9 times before. That's just the truth of the situation. That's the way that it works. And there are some other major issues with the servers, with lag outs and things of that nature, and issues as well with things not downloading right or not saving or having to be deleted. So there's a lot to take in there. So the servers are going to get a 6.5 grade. That's not a surprise for a game made by 2K, but it is something that you definitely want to consider, that those are issues you're going to be running into despite the other positives that are within this game. So, we have to take those things into account. It gets a 6.5 grade, which unfortunately brings an otherwise really good game down in the ratings, a pretty significant amount, but otherwise that is one knock on a game that has so many other positives so far. The next thing to talk about, the next category, is going to be the graphics of this game, and you're getting to see a good view of that on the screen here. The graphics of this game are actually pretty solid. I mean, I don't really have any complaints, especially for what, like I said, is in my opinion, first iteration of a game. It is a very solid game graphically. There are some things to be improved upon. I expect improvement, much like the other categories in this game, in future iterations of this game, but they did a good enough job. The graphics aren't potato graphics, as I like to call them. They're not horrible. They're not the worst that I've ever seen, but nonetheless, they are solid enough. I'm going to give them an 8.7 grade in this one because I really do feel like the graphics are, surprisingly good in my opinion for what this game is. There are some areas that they lack. They still need to fix hair physics and things like that. You can tell immediately that that's one of the most strange part of the graphics within this game, is that the hair just doesn't look quite right for people that have long hair, which is a problem whenever you are wrestling with females, or even there's quite a few males, like you can see Damian Priest on the screen that has long hair. So that is something you want to take into account, that doesn't look the best, but otherwise things look really good in this game, and it's pretty easy for you guys to build a custom character, maybe somebody that's not within the WWE but is a wrestler out there in real life. You can make them and give them a face render, and they will look pretty solid. So that just kind of lends itself to pretty solid graphics and a game being respectable in terms of what they've done with their graphics. And then the final thing to talk about is the customization within the game, something that everybody wants, especially within a WWE game, but within pretty much every title nowadays, you're looking for maximized customization. This game is a breath of fresh air in that respect. There is so much to be customized within this game. It's actually quite surprising how much control you have. From having your customized My Rise character, it was relatively easy to create some pretty nice looking customized characters that you can utilize for your career mode and things of that nature. The customization within this game gets a really good grade. It doesn't really leave a whole lot to be desired. It works really well. There are a couple of things that can't be customized that I would have expected to be customized, but that's okay. You can do a lot within this game, and that is one of its strong points for sure. One of its strongest, if not its strongest point, is the ability to customize so much, and it's going to get a 9.5 grade in that category. And finally, our last category is our overall grade. Our overall grade for this game is actually going to be an 8.6, which is really good. Most of the categories in this game are really good for what we were expecting out of this game and the hype that was built around this game, so that is absolutely worth noting. The game is worth your money. Now, what I will say is I'm going to put a little asterisk by that, a little note by that, to let you guys know that this game needs to make some improvements for future years. It would be nice to see more connected online modes. It would be nice to see some improved graphics, especially with the hair and things like that. It would be nice to see some improvements in some of these areas that I've mentioned so far in today's video, but nonetheless, it is a very strong game. It's a very fun time. It's something I suggest you guys pick up if you're looking for an entertaining game to play if you have not already. I'm having a good time with it, and I'd imagine most of you guys would have a pretty solid time with it as well. So with that being said, it gets that 8.6 grade. It's pretty much worth its opening day price tag. I would maybe try to find it at a slightly lower discount, but nonetheless, pretty solid game. Hopefully you guys found this information useful. If you did, leave a like down below, comment as well, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, I hope you have a good one.